Apple's VR/AR headset is launching in just a few months, and we've had a ton of leaks lately, and we've also made a concept based on those leaks in collaboration with content creator. Now, the only idea of how Apple's headset would look like came from this sketch that the information posted back in 2021, which was based on an alleged prototype that they had seen. And based on the sketch, some 3D artists created renders. There was this beautiful one by Antonio De Rosa, as well as probably the one you're all familiar with, which is Ian Zelbo's concept. But since that 2021 sketch, a lot of leaks have emerged that do actually change the design quite a bit, which is what we've tried illustrating with our concept here. So a January 2023 report from The Information states that Apple's headset would feature an aluminum, glass, and carbon fiber build with cameras concealed in the body for aesthetic reasons. How many cameras, you might ask? Well, according to Ming Chi Kuo, there will be 15 cameras in total. And even though these won't all be video cameras, as some would also be LiDAR modules, that's still a lot of modules. And these weren't visible in the original sketch or the concepts based on that sketch, so we placed our cameras where it made the most amount of sense, which was in the center. That's where we've added 4 cameras, the largest one being a modern iPhone sensor, and that would be used for pass-through, essentially being able to see the outside world for AR apps. Then the cameras right next to it, to its left and right, we envision these as being ultra-wide modules purely for tracking. And then the one under the main camera, we envision this as being a LiDAR module. We then added a couple of ultra-wide modules to that aluminum frame. So one on the top to capture your upward hand movements, one on the bottom to capture your bottom hand movements and your feet, and then 2 more on the left and right sides to capture your full side surroundings. So we're currently at 10 cameras, but then of course we also have some cameras on the inside. Like, we know that this headset will support eye tracking for foveated rendering, which essentially means that it will only render that part of the image that you're specifically looking at in high resolution, while keeping the rest of the image at a lower quality to save on processing power. And PSVR 2, by the way, does this as well. So 1 eye tracking camera for each eye, which brings us to a total of 12, and then some extra cameras are set to be used for facial recognition, likely where the other 3 modules would come into effect. But okay, why do we need facial recognition? Well, that's because the covered glass on the front is actually rumored to be a full-on display. One that can show the user's facial expressions when he or she is inside a headset. And the way we've envisioned this is with Animoji. Like, you can already customize the Animoji to look exactly like you, so that would make the most amount of sense. One that looks like you and then follows your facial expressions carefully. This external display is rumored to feature an ultra-low refresh rate and a reduced power consumption. So it could be that when you're exploring a virtual environment or you're just watching a movie and you're not being very expressive, the screen could just become a bit more static. And not only that, but Apple is also rumored to include iris scanning, which would then be used for authenticating payments and also for buying apps. Now, some of you might be wondering, why did we make our concept so dark when the sketch clearly showed a silver headset? Plus, silver has always been a very iconic color for Apple. Well, this was purely based on The Information's latest report that the cameras will be blended with the body of the headset. And of course, that the only way to do that would be to have a dark body. Now, we did also render a silver version of the headset, and I gotta say, it does look more like Apple, whereas the darker version does resemble the Meta Quest Pro and the Microsoft HoloLens more. But at the end of the day, like I said, if you want to blend those cameras in, dark is the only way to go. Oh, and in case you're wondering, what's up with this weird gadget next to the headset? Well, we'll cover that very shortly. Personally, I don't think we're going to see more than just one color, as this headset is said to be available only in limited quantities, which means that making more than one color wouldn't be justified in terms of cost. Now, about that shape, why did we make ours so rounded on the bottom, whereas the 2021 Information sketch was flat and the renders were also flat? Well, that's because your nose needs a place to go. You see, all of these modern headsets like the Meta Quest Pro, the Pico 4, they feature a new type of lens called pancake lenses. These are some next-gen lenses for VR headsets that allow them to be incredibly thin. And because these headsets are so thin, they just cannot have that nose insert inside the headset, as there simply isn't enough room. So these headsets have to be shaped in such a way that your nose can comfortably fit. Other VR headsets like the Meta Quest 2 or the PSVR 2, they use older Fresnel lenses, which are much bigger, and therefore the headset itself can be noticeably deeper and have that nose insert on the inside, and then have the front perfectly flat. However, Apple is rumored to be using pancake lenses, which means that the headset itself would be very thin, and therefore it would need to have a shape like this. This was not visible on the 2021 sketch or the concepts based on that sketch. However, it could also be that the angle of the sketch simply hides the nose insert on the bottom. Now, you probably noticed that our headband uses a design style very similar to the AirPods Max, which is very different from what the information sketch showed, which was this Apple Watch band style. Well, that's because that design simply wouldn't have been comfortable enough, especially not without an over-the-head strap, something that all headsets feature. And we realized that an AirPods Max style strap would be the best approach to keeping it comfortable while also achieving an iconic Apple look. And just like the AirPods Max, you have these telescopic rods that can slide in and out with ease to adjust the length. And then on the top, we've added a simple to use Velcro strap. Now, you might have noticed two strange things about this headset. One, this connector at the very back, and two, digital crown on the right hand side. So let's start off with the connector. According to the information's latest report, the headset would not feature any internal battery at all. Instead, the battery would be external and something that you would wear around your waist and something that would connect via a MagSafe-like cable to the headset. Now, since you'll always have that cable going from the headset to the battery when you're using it, the cable just wouldn't be able to get in the way of the cameras as it would block the tracking. So the only way to do it is to have it around the back, just like Sony's doing it with the PSVR 2's cable. This does mean that the strap will need to be a bit more complex, with a cable inside of it going from the battery all the way to the internals. Now, I would have preferred for this whole headset to be wireless, but I guess the good thing about this MagSafe implementation is that you can simply swap the batteries in and out with ease, which according to the information would last you for about 2 hours, so basically on par with the other headsets on the market right now. Now, let's talk about that crown. So as the headset is said to lack any physical controllers, the way you'll be interacting with it would be through gestures and through Siri. The information reports that a digital crown would be present without haptic feedback like on the Apple Watch, but one that would allow you to switch between VR and AR modes, and then likely a hold to activate Siri. And then we've also added a power button, which we decided to give a similar look to the camera modules. Now, of course, that Apple could just remove it entirely like they did with the AirPods Max and have it so that when you put a headset on, it would automatically turn on. So we have a decent idea of how it could look like, and we also have a decent idea of how you'll be interacting with it and what you'll use it for. AR apps, VR apps, and then 2D iOS apps. So the real question is, when is it coming out? Well, it was supposed to be announced in January, but that didn't happen. And according to Mark Gurman's latest report, the announcement has now been delayed to WWDC, which does make more sense to me as that is a developer conference, and developers will be playing a key role in making this product succeed. So announcing it at WWDC alongside the Reality OS announcement and all the APIs that the developers would need, I think this is definitely the right choice. Weirdly enough, Mark Gurman reports that the development of the Apple Glasses, so the AR-only device, has now been postponed indefinitely. The good news is that a cheaper version of this headset is also in the works, which is set to launch in 2024 and cost about the same as an iPhone compared to the current $3,000 price point of this more premium headset. Of course, the actual release is only set to be by the end of the year. So if you want to try AR and VR now, you can give the Meta Quest 2 or the Meta Quest Pro a try, as well as the PSVR 2. And if you want to find some good deals on those, simply tap on the YouTube shoppable cards down below. Will you be getting one, or will you just wait for the cheaper version next year? Let me know. I'm Daniel, ZONEofTECH, and I'll see you guys in the next one. ZONEofTECH, signing out. Cheers.